study,
and play come together on a Windows 11 PC.
And for a limited time, college students get
The best of both worlds.
Get the Unreal College Deal. Everything you need to study and play with select Windows 11 PCs. Eligible students get a year of Microsoft 365 Premium and a year of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with a custom color Xbox wireless controller. Learn more at windows.com/student offer. While supplies last. Ends June 30th. Terms at aka.ms/collegepc.
You survived the Miami weekend, nailed the speech, and maxed out your credit card in the name of friendship. Now you've got one hangover, 4 pastel dresses, and 0 reasons to wear them again. Sell them on Depop. Just snap a few photos, and we'll take care of the rest. And you at least get some of your dignity, money back. Someone on Depop wants what you've got. Start selling now. Depop, where taste recognizes taste.
This spring, Uber Eats has you covered. Whether you're celebrating mom, dad, or your favorite grad, not all of us are great planners, and with the Uber Eats gift hub, you don't have to be. Send flowers, perfume, champagne, or just their favorite meal straight to their door. Gifts arrive in as little as 25 minutes, and you can add a personalized video message for that additional so-not-last-minute touch. So this spring, get a leg up on gift giving with Uber Eats. Last-minute gifts that land every time. Must be 21 or older to purchase alcohol. Product availability varies per region. See app for details.
It's baseball, but so much more. Go bananas for Banana Ball with ESPN on Disney+. The greatest show in sports.
Are you kidding me?
Is the phenomenon everyone's talking about.
The trick play to the plate.
Catch the Savannah Bananas and other fan favorite teams all season long with select games streaming with ESPN on Disney+.
Let's go!
U.S. residents, 18 plus only. Select Banana Ball games available to all Disney Plus subscribers. Terms apply.
Morning decisions. How about a creamy mocha frappuccino drink? Or sweet vanilla? Smooth caramel maybe? Or a white chocolate mocha? Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Find Starbucks Frappuccino drinks wherever you buy your groceries.
Hey everybody, it's Weird Islanders, the podcast, back once again. My name is Dan. That is Mike. How are you doing this evening, Mike?
I'm quite well. This is our first handful ever. We've had a starting lineup, but now we have a handful of Weird Islanders to get to, and including some absolute icons who will just bring a huge smile to your face.
Yeah, we got a handful of Weird Islanders and a handful of guests for the first time ever. It's our first ever 4-person episode, and I'm very excited about this. And some of these guys are legends, and some of the guys who are on the team now might not even be on the Islanders by the time you hear this. So that'll be exciting as well. Normally I would introduce our guest, but tonight's a very special night. So Mike, why don't you do the honors tonight and introduce our 2 special guests?
Yeah, it's been a long time coming, and I'm very happy to finally get my oldest brother Dave on the show, along with one of our great friends. Essentially, you're Italian. I feel like Italians are really good about this, and everyone just ends up in your orbit, just ends up being a cousin. So we'll call him Cousin Frank, even though there's no blood relation. So Cousin Frank is here too. And yeah, these are 2. I mean, the 3 of us were all at the game against the Penguins where they lost 8-3. Just once again to put it there. And so when you go through something like that together, right, the bond gets even stronger. And one thing that's really wonderful about the Islanders, and by wonderful I mean awful, but also wonderful, is that when you are close with someone who's going through being an Islander fan with you, it really does strengthen the relationship. So really happy to get these 2 guys on. I also had the pleasure. Dave's bachelor party was the night of game 4 against the Penguins in 2021. They won. Great game. And so we had the 3 of us, along with a bunch of our friends and family, were watching that game together. So we've been through a lot together as Islander fans, and now we get to do this together.
Yeah, that game was something you want to go through with those closest to you. Dave, I'll start with you. Uh, um, in a nutshell, could you please describe what it is like having Mike as a brother? I can only imagine it is a wild ride.
Yeah. I mean, I gotta say, there's not anyone out there much better than Mike. I mean, what you see is what you get with Mike. He brings people together. He always has, and
Mm.
it's just always so cool to me seeing like these niches that he carves out for not. It's not just for himself; it's all these other people, and like, it's so cool seeing that because he is just like the guy that kind of like you see the light that like he creates and lights in other people. And he's talked about like me kind of like driving him into becoming an Islanders fan when we were younger, and you know, I feel terribly. I'm sorry, Mike, but I fell off for a little while, like for a couple of years, and Mike brought me back. So like I guess it was both of us kind of working together there, and yeah, it's awesome. And I'm honored and humbled to be here with you guys tonight because listen to everything.
Yeah, you and I have had a chance to meet a couple of times. It's awesome, and yeah, it's I can see like what you're saying about Mike bringing people together because I'm sure I'm not the first person he's introduced at an Islanders game to you or to the rest of your family or something like that. It's always a lot of fun. And Frank, as a sort of honorary Leboff in their orbit, what has that experience been like to you? I'm assuming that there's been a lot of dinners and holidays that you're just kind of there. And I know for me and my friends, you just end up as sort of like Mike just said, like a cousin, like part of the family. You're just kind of there. That's kind of how it works. Is that how it sort of worked for you?
No, that's spot on. I mean, it's amazing. Like I see their dad, and like it's just a big bear hug. Like that's the way, that's the way it happens with Mr. Leboff and the Leboffs, and their orbit kind of grows all the time. So yeah, it's very funny. If you don't connect for a while, you feel like you've been connected forever. It's like a kind of an old group of friends or kind of cousins there. And like to just be at a bachelor party with these guys is hysterical. Just in itself because Dave is one of my brother's best friends. So the way I found my way into this crew is kind of funny.
Yeah, he backdoored his way. Actually, speaking of Frank, and so then Frank just being around and at a different bachelor party actually ended up saving a stranger's life because him and my cousin Jimmy, was it a bachelor party? I don't remember, but they tied one on, and Jimmy was so hungover that he called out of work the next day, and his neighbor in his apartment building just started slamming on his door one day or that day, and she was choking.
Wow!
And my cousin Jimmy had to save her, give her the Heimlich, and they both puked because of the stress and whatever. And,
wow!
And so Frank, getting my cousin, as drunk as he did, ended up saving that woman's life. So
wow.
It's a really, really important. Yeah. This lady doesn't know who Frank is, but he's like the second most important person in her life after my cousin Jimmy, I guess.
There's a story you don't hear every day. That drunk guy saved my life. That's pretty crazy. That's really funny. Oh my gosh. Wow. Yeah. That might have to be an episode unto itself, maybe for patrons only at some point. But, no, that's amazing. It's great to have you guys here with us. Dave, I appreciate you listening. It's always fun to know that you're listening. You told me at our meetup at the Offside Tavern last year, you're like, hey, thanks for making Mike, sound good on the show. Like, it's not me, it's him, it's all him. So I'm not, it's not me. Trust me, I don't have to do that much work for the show. But it's great to have you guys on. And you have picked, somehow we came about to this sort of subject, and I'm glad we did because, as we were saying, like, we're going to talk about some legends here. These are players that are spotlighted in terms of hockey fans because they generally take a lot of the blame or get a lot of the credit when the team wins. And that is, of course, the goalie. As Jeff Merrick would say, you could just rename the sport of hockey goalie because that's what it's all about. And we've got four, one for each of us here. Although we have a group, I think that we all kind of agreed upon. And I'm super excited to get to all of them, especially our first guy, because Dave, you apparently have a great connection with this player. So David Leboff, if you will, please introduce our first Weird Islander on tonight's episode of Weird Islanders, the podcast, Goaliepalooza edition.
Yeah, man. If only my like 10-year-old self could know that I am about to introduce Eric Fichaud as our first Weird Islander.
That's right. A name I know brings a lot of smiles to people's faces, even all these years later, and who, frankly, did not play a lot of games for the Islanders. We'll get to that in a little bit. We might as well just get right to it. So, Dave, you said Fichaud was one of your first favorite players, if not the guy who really got you into the Islanders. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, I'd always watched and stuff, and I mean, my dad watched hockey, and that's how like we got into him, our cousins and stuff. But Fichaud just was kind of, I guess it was more like when I started to realize and like think for myself as an Islanders fan instead of like parroting back like what other people say. I don't know, something about him made me gravitate towards him. Maybe it was, I mean, Mike talks about it a lot. These good looking Islanders. I mean, Fichaud was a really good looking dude. The crisp number 1 with the fisherman jersey, and then eventually the Islanders logo replacing the fisherman. Just something about it, man. If you ask me, he played 75 games for the Islanders. He went 75-0 as far as I'm concerned.
He wishes he went 75. Right. And it's so funny how, like, you know, these guys that didn't play that much can become so important to you. But Frank, what about you? What's your history with Eric Fichaud? I mean, I'm assuming you're about the same age as all of us, and you kind of remember him playing. And he's very tied to that fisherman jersey. But I don't know, is that the way you picture him, or was it maybe in the later wavy jersey?
So it's very funny. I was as I was kind of looking up for this episode, I stumbled across something that just kind of like smacked in my face of nostalgia, and it was the Generation Next poster.
Yes.
Oh my god! It was him. I may get this wrong. It was him, Brian Berard. I think it was Brian McCabe.
Yep.
And I'm missing somebody on there.
I believe it was Todd Bertuzzi, wasn't it?
Maybe Todd Bertuzzi.
Or was it Brett Lindros? No, I think it was. Yeah, it was one of the two of them.
Oh my god, the juxtaposition of the blue and orange with the crazy 90s kind of toothpaste colors was fantastically horrible. It was fantastically horrible. I was like, oh my! I had that poster in my room, and like Dave, I mean, I thought Fichaud was the best. I was like, Generation Next. This poster's not lying. Like, we're gonna win a cup.
That was what they were selling for sure. But you know, like David said, all these young, good-looking guys coming into the island, new look. We'll get to that look in a few minutes as well. And they all had a lot of youthful enthusiasm. What they didn't have was a ton of wins and talent around them. That's for sure. But I mean, Mike, you're a little younger than us. Like, does Fichaud register for you? Because this is sort of like before you said your big breakthrough in the 2002 season.
Oh yeah, no, he definitely registers, and it's because of my brother Dave, my cousins, and we had a like a little plaque with a picture of Eric Fichaud in my basement because Dave loved him, and that plaque, like, I mean, our basement was a what do you call the when you have in wrestling when they bring the Hell in a Cell, Hell in a Cell, basically, steel cage, right? Because like we'd all have, you know, there's 5 of us, and we'd all have our friends over at, you know, the same time, and our basement would just like be where we, you know, play, you know, whatever, you know, mini sticks hockey, hide and seek in the dark, just flat out wrestle, whatever it was. And there were just like a couple of posters in and around that basement. Most of them were sports related. We had a like a Patrick Ewing one. That one might still be there. I don't know, Dave. I was there today. I should know this. I should have taken stock. There's like we have a Premier League map that came along a little later. There was a poster of Ryan Giggs down there for a while. He was a Manchester United player for some reason. Right. And then we had this Eric Fichaud flat plaque, like not a poster, like a picture, and it's mounted on like a stone marble turquoise plaque. And
I'm looking at it right now, Mike.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And he watched all of the madness at the house.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he was watching over us. Over us.
I think he's the only reason we made it.
Yeah, exactly. And so like he was just always there, right? Like whether I was 8 playing, you know, in the basement, playing video games or wrestling or mini hockey or whatever, or whether I was like 18 drinking a 6-pack with my buddies, like Eric Fichaud was just there in that basement forever. So, and nobody ever brought it up. Like none of my friends were ever like, who the hell is Eric Fichaud? You know, like it was just there on the wall. And it's a shame because if they asked, I'd be like, you know what? Only thing I remember about this guy is he was incredibly good looking. He had the 90s look. And if he was good, if he was good, like this guy was going to break through as a star. Like he would have broken through to the mainstream because of his hair. You know, he's got like the French Canadian thing going. He would have been really, really like a 90s hockey icon. And if the Islanders were good, that fisherman jersey obviously takes on a new connotation. And I think Fichaud becomes like the guy who turns it into something. Because I know in our notes here, it says like he liked the jersey.
Yeah.
He should have. It looks really good on him. Like it fits him well. There's something about this jersey that looks really good on him. Like, and I think maybe it's the goalie, right? Like they're wearing the chest protector. So he's got more space for the logo to spread out and like the colors and he's only got one number on his back. So there's something there, but he looks good. And you look up any picture of Eric Fichaud Islanders, and whether it's the fisherman or the wavy with the classic logo, like he's got a great setup. He's got a great smile, great hair.
Yeah.
And it's a shame because when you're sold, like Frank was saying, like when you're sold Generation Next as a kid at that age, you just assume it's going to come true, right?
Yeah.
Posters don't lie. And it, unfortunately, you know, he just, it didn't happen for the guy, but
no.
What they meant was next generation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Next. But it speaks a lot about the other things he's got going on. His like cultural kind of tale of the tape is so profound, because I know if you talk to a lot of Islander fans of your vintage or Dave and Frank's vintage, they all light up when you bring up Eric Fichaud. Like I've talked about him a lot with Sean Cuthbert, who's a little older than me. Like anybody from that era who lived with these teams, the name Eric Fichaud really means a lot to them. And it's not even like a laugh at him. It was like, he was so cool, and I just wish it worked out, because it would have been cool to have this really cool guy be good.
Yeah. He's a very rare Islander in a number of different ways. One, he's a goalie that didn't have a ton of success and yet is not hated by the fans, right? Like I was just telling before we came on, like, you know, one of the guys I wanted to do an episode on in the show that we were lucky enough to do with my friend Bill Metz was an episode on Ron Hextall, who played less games for the franchise than, you know, Fichaud did, but like is equally as infamous, but like hated because we couldn't stand the guy, right? And we just booed him forever. And Fichaud, despite losing the better part of his games with that team, is still really well liked. And I think it's got a lot to do with his look, the hair, the name. I mean, just something about having that sort of French Canadian goaltender, you know, makes you kind of feel really cool. And I found the poster that Frank was mentioning before. Of course, it was Ziggy Palffy. He was the other guy. Of course, I should have known. Now I feel bad not knowing. But I'm looking at Fichaud here, the coho pads, the helmet with the fisherman like face on the top, like kind of on the crown, on the forehead. Just a phenomenal look. You know, under there he's got the great hair. He would have had one of the great heads of hair in Islanders history had, like you said, it worked out. Like it would have been Bob Nystrom, you know, Ken Morrow, Kelly Rudy, and Eric Fichaud. Like those guys had the best hair for the Islanders. And I guess Palffy's in that conversation too. But it was great. Unfortunately for Fichaud and his friends, they came along at a time when the Islanders were run by an absolute madman in Mike Milbury, and nobody stayed on the roster very long. The guys that were here did not get a ton of direction. They had trouble keeping the puck out of their own net, as Fichaud knew better than anybody. They could not score very well. Palffy was the only guy who was doing any scoring. And so, Frank, I'll go back to you. Like, when you think of these teams, what kind of headspace do you get into? I mean, is it like a rosy nostalgia because we're like 30 years past, or are you like me and you kind of remember just watching loss after loss after loss and being like, when does it end? When do we get good? I don't know. How do you look at that entire era that includes Eric Fichaud?
Well, Dan, it was almost like that bill of lies that was sold to us. I mean, I was looking at like Todd Bertuzzi was my favorite guy. I'm like, this guy could score, he could fight, he could do everything. And he really didn't do all that much for us. And But then you had some bruisers on the team, right? Like you had the combination of like Mick Fichaud towards the end of his tenure, Rich Pilon, Steve Webb. So
Right.
like I kind of look at it in both ways. I remember being so hyped up for these seasons. And then like you, I was like, oh man, after the season, like how did we go? How did we have, 57 points one season with this roster that I thought was going to be awesome?
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I just, yeah, I know. I don't know. There's something, that team might have just been cursed. I'm not even sure, but yeah, I mean, obviously, Dave, you were very invested in this group. I mean, how do you think about them when you look back and you're like, are you the same thing? Like, how are they this bad? Like, I mean, my assumption is just it's Mike Milbury, but like, or are you maybe like, again, feeling a lot better about it now that you were a little kid, a lot more carefree, and maybe that time somehow you enjoy it all these years later.
Yeah, I think that I'm wondering if it's because like a product of being a backup for so long that
Right.
anytime he started, I felt like he won, even though he didn't. I think because Tommy Salo was losing so many games. I was like, why don't they just have Fichaud like as the starter? And it just, I think that it made me think that he was a lot better than he was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just, for whatever reason, I think that there was so little to latch onto as an Islanders fan during that time that I just kind of latched onto him and was like, you know what, he is like, he's better than he is. And I don't know, that's my guy.
Well, I mean, you weren't crazy to latch onto him because he had quite a pedigree. This is a guy who drafted 16th overall by the Maple Leafs in 1994. And was traded to the Islanders about a year later in April of 95 in a deal that included 2 picks that didn't really amount to much. And Benoit Hogue, another beloved Islander who, of course, as Mike and I love to say, came back. He never actually left. He's back now. He's like coaching kids, the junior Islanders. He's a beloved figure around UBS, but he was traded at one point and it did turn into Eric Fichaud. And so like this guy had like a lot of hype. And I always, when I think of Eric Fichaud, I think of a phrase that has only been applied to him and I think nobody else since then. And that is, quote, goalie of the future. He, to me, was the goalie of the future, even though he kind of wasn't. And it also gets back to a guy you just mentioned, Dave. We'll get back to in a few minutes. Tommy Salo, who was the actual starter and was never called the goalie of the future because Mike Milbury hated him, as we all know very well. But like, Mike, do you remember this? Like, I'm not making this up. Like, he was considered the goalie of the future, even though some other guy was getting all the starts.
I think so. Yeah, it was. It was like a, and I think it's once again like the poster, the look, right? Like this is the mid '90s. It's really hard to even bring yourself back to that era and think about just how big it was to look cool, right? Like that's the '90s were all about looking cool, and Eric Fichaud looked cool, and you either had it or you didn't, and he had it.
Ever wonder what it's like to be about 20 years old, play in the National Hockey League, make good money, and basically not have a care in the world? Well, we're about to show you. Come spend the day with Brian McCabe and Eric Fichaud. You guys have a lot of freedom, and you're young, and you have a lot of money. That could be dangerous for some people.
I'm not going to play hockey for all my life. I mean, hockey, I might play hockey for, I hope, the next 15 years. So you gotta, be careful with your money and be like serious.
You look at Tommy Salo, as much as I love Tommy Salo, is like with the mask on and the pads, like he always had a pretty good look. But like he was like a Scandinavian, very stoic, kind of mopey looking dude. And and you got Fichaud. So like the Islanders are trying to sell tickets here, and they're like, well, are we going to market this guy, or are we going to market this guy who looks like he could be driving a Corvette with, pick your 90s supermodel in the car with him, and people would be like, like almost like what Alexa Yashin was with Carol Alt, right? Like he could have like one of those kind of relationships. And so I think the team probably pushed that pretty hard. And what's also interesting about Fichaud, and I remember when, the next young goalie that they brought in and hyped up was, of course, Rick DiPietro. And how careful fans were being like, look, we don't want him to turn into another Fichaud, and like we got to develop him, a little different and whatever. And he was kind of the, the buyer beware that
Right.
you'd hear around Nassau Coliseum in the early 2000s about Rick. And I just would want to point out, and I brought this story up quite a bit on the show, like about Dave, and how there's a clip of him on a YouTube when the Islanders beat the Bruins 8-2, and he's dancing behind Rick Bowness after Ziggy Palffy scores a hat trick. The best part of that game, aside from Dave and then like Howie and Eddie just ripping Dave to shreds, is that Eric Fichaud and Tommy Salo both played in the game, because the Islanders were up big, and they were like, well, they want to get the youngsters some time too.
Right.
So they pulled Salo in the middle of the game to put Fichaud back in, and I think they might have even switched twice during the game, because things were a lot weirder back then. But
Right.
that's another thing, right? Like you go, you see this guy in person with his he had a cool mask and what's a cool look. Of course, it's Eric Fichaud is going to leave an outsized impact on you.
Yeah, that's a very Mike Milbury thing to go to take the one game you're going to win probably that month and turn it into like a showcase for yourself and how often you can pull the goalie. Like, oh my God, kids, let me tell you something. It was not fun. It was not fun at all. But yeah, like Fichaud was acquired for a big cost. He had a good pedigree. He had played with the Leafs minor league system in Worcester, and I guess at that time, or no, I guess he was still playing in junior probably at the time, and came over and was expected to be the starter. He lost, what did it say here? He ended up losing 9 of his first 16 starts.
All right.
And then Salo was the starter, and that was it. And then Fichaud was the backup for the next little while. But like he seemed to be pretty well liked. I mean, Matthew Schneider was another guy we've done on this show. Was a veteran on that team. He called Fichaud a very calm kid, very impressive. And he did pick up wins. In fact, in his 75 games as an Islander, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, he picked up 19 wins with 34 losses and 9, I guess, ties, or I guess, they had ties back then.
7.5 to go now in the second period. Islanders have trailed twice and have even the game up both times. Manson with a lead to Tkachuk. Keith Tkachuk powers to the net. He shoots. Oh, Fichaud got his stick out. Tkachuk couldn't get the puck upstairs, and Fichaud robbed him on the breakaway. That keeps the game tied at 2. Tkachuk steps into Armstrong.
That was from 1996 to 1998. And if you're like me, and we were talking about this before we came on, you might be thinking, wait a minute. Fichaud only played 75 games for the Islanders? And the answer is yes. That's it. That's the most games he played for the Islanders. That's the total amount of games he played for the Islanders, the most games he played for anybody. We'll get to his other stops in a minute too. But this blew my mind. Like, we were talking about this before. Frank, I'll throw it to you. You hadn't joined us yet. But like, is it me, or is that crazy that this guy who made such an impression on all of us and clearly a bunch of other people only played 75 games for this team? That's not even a full season. Like, it's crazy that, I mean, it was spread out over 3 years, but like, does that seem strange to you that he only played that many games?
No. Like, if you ask me, the combination of like him, Bertuzzi, and like McCabe, I thought they played for like 6-7 seasons together. I thought that was like the early version, maybe not the uncles, maybe it's the cousins over there. But like, I thought they were together for like a really long time and had a big impact. But they didn't have a big impact on the score sheet. They didn't have a big impact in the standings, and they didn't play all that long for the Islanders.
I don't know, like because they were sold to us, right? Like, but when you were a kid, like you were showing up for those seasons, and like Bertuzzi, McCabe, like these Fichaud, these guys are going to be good. And then 3 months later, or whatever it is, like Milbury's traded one, and he's going to trade another one, and then another one, and you're because of the way they were sold, it feels like they were here. Like, in my head, Brian McCabe and Todd Bertuzzi are both Islanders. Like, in my head, they both are. And if I went into Vancouver and was talking to a Canucks fan, I'm like, oh yeah, Bertuzzi is an Islander. They'd be like, what?
Right.
He's an Islander legend, dude. He played for the Islanders. When did he play the Islanders? Same with McCabe. Like, when McCabe hauled down Sean Bates, I still remember feeling like, oh boy, that's got to be awkward for him, because he was an Islander for so long.
Right. Yeah. I remember.
We also had Brian Berard on that team, right?
Like, yeah.
On the Calder, like before his eye injury. And that whole crew was like, they were positioned.
Yeah. That was my guy. That was Dave. The way you think about Fichaud, Berard was my guy. I've mentioned before on
awesome.
Anxiety. I was a huge fan of his. Yeah.
He was great too.
Yeah. But yeah, Mike, I'm with you. Whenever I see that clip, I always have, at least there's some ownership of Brian McCabe still. When I see his face, I'm like, man, this could have been you, man. You could have been on this team, rooting on, telling Sean Bates what to do in this penalty shot. But we should also mention, we talked about it before, the Fisherman jersey. This obviously is very maligned. Like Mike said, had the team been winning at the time, maybe the feelings would have been different. Obviously, it's back now. It's kitschy. It's retro. The kids love it. They actually, Lou Lamoriello of all people signed on to have like a reverse retro jersey of it, but back then, it was hated for many, many years, including the years that the guys wore it. But not to Eric Fichaud. He loves this thing. He loved wearing the Fisherman jersey and has had nothing but nice things to say about it. He had a whole article on the Islanders website saying, like, when I see the Fisherman, it represents all the good times I had with the Islanders, even if I wish we had won more games than we did. For me, it was being in the NHL was a dream come true. So, like, he's the one guy who loved wearing that jersey. And I just makes me love him even more. It's just amazing.
Yeah, I mean, that's enough, man. That's like enough to just get someone to be beloved by this fan base, especially when they have Eric Fichaud night at UBS Arena. Hopefully he comes out in the Fisherman, right? They don't give him one of the how they give people the the stock jersey they got now with the number on the back. Hopefully they give him the Fisherman because. Yeah, he looked good. I mean, if I was him, I would like it too because he really pulled up. I mean, it's a '90s jersey. He's got the '90s look, and he's we've got a couple other goalies on this list, and they in terms of looks, like it's not even it's not even close.
Yeah, no, it's not even close. I mean, a couple of these guys, I don't remember even what they look like. But as we said, as he said too, it was a short time. He wasn't with the Islanders long. He came in 1995, played his 75 games without even winning 20 of them. And then in the summer of 1998, he was traded to Edmonton for Mike Watt, a guy I also like to do an episode on, although he played well over 100 games for the Islanders. Dave, as the resident Fichaud guy, this was your favorite guy. He gets traded. I don't know how old you were at the time, but did the trade resonate with you? Did you have a burning hatred for Mike Watt in his 100 games as an Islander because of he was traded for your guy? But like, do you remember what you felt when you saw that Fichaud was no longer with the team?
Yeah, I mean, it was just one of these. Again, I think in the same way that it was Fichaud was like coming of age person, like recognizing I can think of myself as an Islander fan and choose who I like. It like broke my heart. I was like, this is a realization that these guys aren't here forever. So it was another like existential crisis. It was like an existential crisis at whatever 12 years old, knowing that as existential crises should come along about a backup goalie that played 75 games. It was definitely a bummer. I don't know if I had the wherewithal at that point to place that hatred on Mike Watt, but it was definitely a moment that was like I was so bummed that he was gone. I was like, who's my person now? And it's funny thinking about that now with like my kids, and my two girls are huge Islanders fans now, and Ella's favorite player was Josh Bailey, and me having to like have that conversation with her, it took me right back to Fichaud leaving. I was like, oh man, like this is sorry, like they're not here with us forever. At least he ended as an Islander. But yeah, it was. I think it was just more like this first moment of like they're not here forever.
Yeah, I hear you. Nobody could have hated Mike Watt. He was a very nice guy. Didn't do much for the Islanders, but yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. Like, yeah, that is really rough. And I remember having to explain to my daughter that John Tavares wasn't on the Islanders anymore, and that was she was about 8. She was about 7 or 8, and she was not a huge fan or anything, but having that conversation was like, yeah, well, he doesn't play for them anymore, and oh, that's sad. I'm like, yeah, it's sad. It's among other things.
That's one way to put it.
That's one way to put it, yeah. And now, a word from our sponsors. VintageIceHockey.com. Over 100 classic hockey logos on t-shirts, jerseys, hats, mugs, and more. Long Island Ducks, Albany Riverettes, Danbury Trashers, Kentucky Thoroughblades, and so many more. Plus a full line of Islanders Anxiety merch with our portion of the sales going directly to the Center for Dementia Research. These incredible items cannot be found in stores, so shop vintageicehockey.com today. Relax, sit back, and enjoy wine from The Pinot Project. Rosé, Pinot Grigio, or a Pinot Noir that was named a Best Buy by Wine Enthusiast magazine. These wines are delicious, affordable, and available at area wine shops and at UBS Arena. Learn more at thepinotproject.com, and please drink responsibly. But that was not Fichaud's last trade. In fact, he spent no time with the Oilers at all, and before the beginning of the next season, he was traded to Nashville, where he played 9 games, won 0 of them, lost 6. The next year, he, I believe, signed. Oh, no, he was traded by Nashville to Carolina for a 4th-round pick. Sorry, that trade from Edmonton to Nashville included a bunch of big guys. He was traded with Drake Barahowski and Greg DeVries for Jim Dowd and other goalie Mikhail Shtolenko. So it was actually quite a sizable trade at the time. He found his way to Carolina from Nashville for a 4th-round pick. Then he ended up getting selected off waivers by Montreal, and he played a couple of games with Montreal. He had 2 games with Montreal, exactly. He had 9 with the Hurricanes. He won 3 of those. So at least he did get some wins with a team that wasn't the Islanders. But I don't know I wish we could ask a Montreal Canadiens fan how they felt about Eric Fichaud, because I feel like this feels like it probably was meant to happen, and I bet he felt it was meant to happen, but it didn't happen. He spent more time in their AHL club in Hamilton than he did with the actual Habs. But do any of you guys remember any of these other stops for him? I vaguely remember him playing for the Predators a little bit. Again, I was shocked to find that he hadn't won any games for them. But do any of these ring any bells? I mean, obviously, we're all picturing him in the fisherman jersey, but I feel like there might be a little bit of room there for the silver and blue Predators jersey. Any of you guys have any recollections of that?
I don't think so. I think just because of the nature of the league at that point, it was so hard to like understand, and have a Predators jersey from, it was probably when they first came out. If I knew Fichaud was on that team, his name would have been on the back of it. I don't really recall his other stops, and I think just it was once he was gone for me.
Sounds about right. Mike, what about you? You're usually pretty good about this kind of thing. Do you remember any of these other stops?
I don't really. I remember him like after the fact, just like, not even just tonight, but just like when you go in, as you do, go down the Eric Fichaud rabbit hole. Every once in a while. So I that's how I remember, is like, yeah, he did. I'm actually just happy he had other stops. It wasn't one of those situations like where it felt like we got duped and the guy like just, we were sold a bag of goods and the guy like just vanished into oblivion. Like this was actually an NHL player who like got other opportunities, which makes me feel a little bit better about how I felt about him. And yeah, I mean, he probably looked killer in those early Predators jerseys.
I'm guessing. He also had a very well-traveled AHL career. Worcester, Utah, Milwaukee, Quebec, Manitoba, Hamilton. He also played as junior with the Chicoutimi Seguins, which is a great jersey. So if anybody has any of these jerseys, we'd love to see pictures of them. And, he's a guy who we all just really appreciated. I don't know. Mike and I talk about this all the time on this show, whether these guys know what their Islanders legacy is. I have a feeling Eric Fichaud knows what his Islanders legacy is. Like, he just seems like a guy who still is connected to this team. He is a broadcaster now. I don't think he's ever called any games or done anything from the Islanders, but talk about a guy who needs to come back for an alumni game. It would be Eric Fichaud. Dave, what would your reaction be if you saw Eric Fichaud at an alumni night and he got a big pop on the screen?
It's funny. I feel like I do a pretty good job of staying pretty like calm, cool, and collected, but I think that the one person on this planet that might really have me starstruck might be Eric Fichaud. Might be the only person on the planet that can say that. But
I was gonna say, I don't know if you'd be alone in that. I feel like if he showed up at UBS Arena, I think there'd be a lot of washed up dudes on either side of 40 who were just like, you were my guy, to him, and being like, I know I was like, I knew I was all your guys. Like you got, because you were the only people in the building, so like I could hear you, and like I just he knew he had it going on. He could he's I mean, the pictures he's taking, he's smiling and all of them. There's no like hockey scowl thing going on.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked if he shows up and as you said, Dan, he knows, like, he wouldn't admit it, but walking in, he's like, I'm about to make 30 people's day.
Oh, more than that. But yeah, I think that's a perfect way to describe it, Mike. I don't think I've ever seen a picture of him where he wasn't smiling. Like he's just always smiling, which is very rare for hockey guys, especially goalies too. But Eric Fichaud is not our only goalie for this episode. In fact, we have 3 others. Frank, will you please reveal the next Weird Islanders goalie on this special Goaliepalooza edition of Weird Islanders, the podcast?
He would be the consummate backup in Wade Flaherty.
Perfect introduction there. So you remember Wade Flaherty then as an Islander, right? I mean, if you're calling him by his proper title, the consummate backup, then that means you knew exactly who he was when he played for the Islanders.
He was like a warm blanket, right? Like if one of the stars wasn't starting, I was kind of like, okay, Flaherty's in his role. He's a backup. That's what he's there to do. He's there to get us by when the big guy's not starting. So I absolutely remember him, and I absolutely remember just being kind of comforted when he came in on one of those off nights against the Blackhawks.
Yeah, a lot of games against the Blackhawks, Senators, any expansion team from that time for sure. But no, consummate backup. One of the most well-traveled guys we've ever talked about. 120 games played career in the NHL for San Jose, the Islanders, Florida, Tampa Bay, and Nashville. And then basically every AHL team you could find: Kentucky, Lowell, Utah, San Antonio, Milwaukee, Manitoba, Rockford, and actually was a Calder Cup champion in 2004 with Milwaukee as a player. And one of the forwards on that team, none other than Matthew Darsh. Go figure. Small world. Yeah, I know. But that being said, despite being the consummate backup, he did find himself in 2 like historically significant moments. We'll talk about those in a minute. But Mike, what are your memories of Wade Flaherty? Probably sitting on a bench, right? Or at least on a chair at Nassau Coliseum behind the Zamboni entrance.
Boy, yeah. So this is it, right? Like this is the turn of the decade. I'm starting to figure out like what it is, like how to be a fan, what the Islanders are at this time, like that they're kind of a laughingstock. A lot of people going to jail. They might, people might not be around much longer, and being like, all right, like it's an underdog team. I'm into that whole kind of situation. And then you watch them, and I think Wade Flaherty is a really good representation of this, mini era of the late 90s and that year before, Yashin and Pekka came, because this man, he did his job. He was Frank put it perfectly, right? A consummate backup, a guy who just knew his role, kind of seemed to do it with a smile on his face, and just got pummeled every night. And I just remember watching him and being like, or every time he stepped in, I should say, not every night, and just being like, this is what a bad goalie looks like. Like that's how I like my memory of Wade Flaherty is just like, this is I've ESPN2 hockey night, right? Like whatever, NHL Tonight, you'd watch them and they'd be like, you'd be watching Patrick Waugh doing his thing, and then Dominic Hasek's like on his back, kicking his legs up like a scorpion and making saves. There's Cujo like hacking someone to death in front of the blue paint. Ed Belfour, he might be hammered, but he's unbelievable right now, right? Like you're watching all this stuff, and then you watch Wade Flaherty play a game, you're like, boy, he is not Ed Belfour. No. And it kind of like drills something in your head, like, man, can the Islanders ever get a player that's good? That is going to be as good as Patrick Waugh or Dominic Hasek or Eric Lindros or any of those names, because the Islanders had some cool guys,
right? But
they were much more cool than good. And I just remember thinking that about Wade Flaherty, being like, all like a lot of my friends, it was the late 90s on Long Island. There weren't too many people who were rooting for the Islanders, or like hockey was their number one sport. The Yankees were a dynasty, and whatever. But it felt like a lot of kids around my age started to like gravitate towards those Avalanche teams. The Stars were kind of catchy for some reason in my grade, and because they were good, and just being like, wow, they've got, he gets to root for Patrick Waugh, he gets to root for Dominic Hasek, that guy gets to root for Steve Yzerman, and I have to root for a battery of whatever, like Kevin Weeks and Wade Flaherty, and this is for me.
Right. Yeah, Wade Flaherty, generously speaking, with all due respect to a guy who's had a very long and very storied, frankly, career in NHL, was definitely not Patrick Baugh. He was not Ed Belfour. He was not Dominic Hasek. He was not Martin Brodeur or any of these guys who played in this era. He also wasn't Eric Fichaud, who, as we know, is like kind of a legend, a fan favorite. Dave, I'm assuming that Wade Flaherty was no substitute for Eric Fichaud in your mind, but do you remember Flaherty playing, and like, was he a candidate for you to latch onto after Fichaud was eventually gone?
No, and yeah, I think Frank did a really good job of describing it. He was just a guy that you felt comfortable with. He was just like he was part of the furniture, as a backup, and where Fichaud just had a lot more excitement around him. He was much more electric. He was like the Corvette, and Flaherty was the Camry, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like he was good. He's a guy that you want around. He's dependable, but yeah, he just didn't carry that same panache that Fichaud did for me.
No, absolutely not. And I mean, how could he? Like, he just, one guy was older, another guy was a little younger. Flaherty never had the cool hair. But like I said before, Wade Flaherty did have a couple of cool moments in the NHL. First, before he even came to the Islanders, he was playing for San Jose. He was the starter for the Sharks when they upset Calgary in the 1995 playoffs, which I remember was like a huge deal. Like, that was pretty crazy. The Sharks, they had a couple of really, really wild runs in those first couple of years. They beat the Red Wings one year. They beat the Flames another year. And Wade Flaherty was in goal for that Flames upset, which is pretty wild. And if you're a Flames fan, I'm sure you probably remember it very, very well. The other thing that happened was he came to the Islanders when they traded Roberto Luongo to Florida and drafted Rick DiPietro, which was a bit of a mess, as we can all remember. So that was a big deal in Islanders history. But, he came in to stabilize, like Frank said, as the consummate backup to this kid that was, taken after 1 year at college. But Wade Flaherty's greatest quote unquote achievement in the NHL will always be a game against the Rangers in which he gave up the 894th career and final goal for Wayne Gretzky. It was scored on Wade Flaherty.
Long shot, kicked away by Flaherty. Linden is pressured. Gretzky in front, saved by Flaherty. The rebound, score! It's taken a long time, but Wayne Gretzky is finally the all-time leading professional goal scorer. There's the forechecking, good play by John McClain. Gretzky moves across, he gets bumped, and the loose puck's sitting there, and he just chops it in. Congratulations to Wayne Gretzky. The Rangers lead with 2:07 to go in the third. Graves stood his ground. McClain was there. Gretzky just sort of slinking away, found the puck and chopped it in. He now stands on the bench, and the people are standing in the garden, and they're applauding. The 894th NHL goal, regular season goal. Rangers lead 2-1.
I watched this game. I saw that happen, and I was like, wow, it's been a while since Gretzky scored a goal, because I think he only had like 9 goals that year. And I was like, geez, that's not a lot, but that's sort of cool, I guess, that he just got scored on by Wayne Gretzky, because he didn't he only played 2-3 years with the Rangers. He didn't score a ton of goals against the Islanders. He had that one playoff hat trick too. That was his big thing. But at this point, he was really more of a passer and a playmaker. But I remember thinking that was annoying, obviously, that they got scored on, because I'm pretty sure they lost the game. But also wow, that's pretty wild that Wayne Gretzky scored. And then, of course, it ends up being his final goal in his incredible career. Frank, do you remember this? I mean, as an Islanders watcher at the time, did you watch this game? Do you remember him scoring this goal on Wade Flaherty?
I'm pretty sure I blocked it out of my memory. I was just
probably right.
I was just so tired of the Rangers getting all these awesome Hall of Fame players, and I'm pretty sure I just blocked it all out. Gretzky, Yager, and all those, every name that kind of came up that was big, they had on their team, and I was pretty tired. Still am.
That's pretty funny. Yeah.
But we had Wade Flaherty,
we did.
Yeah.
Right.
That's Wade for you, right?
Yeah.
He would. I mean that you call it a time of great goalie upheaval. That 0-1 team is hilarious. In terms of the goaltenders that played for them, because you got obviously Rick with a solid 3-15-1 record. One thing I'll say about this season was I was 10 years old, but I remember watching him being like, well, that guy's not ready yet, you know? So like they had, but they had 4 goalies, and Rick was one, Wade Flaherty's the other. That is John Van Beesbrook and Chris Terreri, and it's sliding doors. Like they're all kind of in and out with each other. What an unbelievable makeup in goal. And Wade Flaherty just being there makes a lot of sense as like the warm blanket backup guy who's just going to be there. He's going to wear his number 30. There's 2 things about Wade Flaherty that when you like Google him, his goaltending equipment looks like it's a mishmash because he's like, being traded all the time and up and down with the minors and stuff. And it seems like there's a lot of pictures of this guy chatting with the officials. and they're probably just having the most pleasant conversation because I feel like there was like something so milquetoast about him. And in this era, there weren't that many. I guess that makes him stand out a little bit, like because there were very few milquetoast guys that came through the island, whether they were playing, coaching, or owning the team at that time. And he certainly was one of them, but and he is like the opposite of Fichaud. Just the look is just funny. He's just disheveled, and we don't get too deep into that era of like 99 to 2001 before the turnaround, but this is bringing back and just being like, wow, these guys, like they just I might never know what it's like to root for a good hockey team, and I might always be rooting for guys like Wade Flaherty.
Yeah, right.
Because like as Frank was saying, this was the era of like every day you'd wake up and the Rangers would be getting Jaromir Jagr or someone. You're like, God damn it.
Peter Nedved. Yeah, all these other guys. Yeah. But you know what? There is value. I mean, we're making fun of the guy, obviously, because he is the consummate backup, and I'm sure he would say as much if he were here. But there is value, obviously, in having these guys. Like they went out and got Wade Flaherty to back up Rick DiPietro because they knew that he was probably going to go 3-15 and whatever in that season because he wasn't ready, And I'm not surprised that there's a lot of pictures of him talking to the refs because that is the wily veteran move, is to butter up the refs and make sure that they know that these other guys are. I think they're getting away with some stuff up there. We're a good, young, hardworking team. He's sort of like Zenon Konopka, when he was working the TSN booth that one time and yelling at them. But no, I have nothing but good memories of Flaherty. He was. What's funny to me is that Fichaud was the goalie of the future and only played 75 games for the Islanders. Meanwhile, Wade Flaherty was the backup and played 60 games in like 4 seasons. So like clearly Fichaud ended up playing backup numbers because these are backup numbers. 60 games played, 15 wins, 26 losses, 6 ties. But somehow, despite getting only 15 wins in 4 seasons between 1997 and 2001, he somehow had 4 shutouts in that time, which is, again, the most wily veteran move you could possibly make. I don't remember the Islanders ever shutting anybody out during this time period, but apparently Wade Flaherty is the guy who did all the shutting out. So I don't know how he did it.
Dan Boyle thinks he has a goal. Wade Flaherty says you get nothing and like it. 23 saves for Wade. Later third, Roman Hamrlik. Goal! Someone is having a good year, and his name is Roman Hamrlik. We got an email late tonight from a fan in Buffalo that said, I'm casting my vote for first star of the night for Wade Flaherty. I'm sure Panger will agree. We'll find out later.
Maybe in the most wily veteran move you can possibly ever do. Since 2011, when, around the time he, after he retired, Wade Flaherty has been working as the goaltending coach for the Winnipeg Jets and has helped Connor Hellebuck win not 1, but 2 Vezina trophies and a Hart trophy. And so he's clearly passing on that wily veteran knowledge to some other guys and has made Connor Hellebuck into a pretty darn good goalie. Frank, did you know this, that Wade Flaherty was the Winnipeg Jets goaltending coach? I feel like this pops up like every 2 years, and I keep forgetting because he's clearly been there. He's been there since 2011. He's been there almost 15 years. That's a long time, but I'm not sure this knowledge for whatever reason doesn't like stick in my head. Like, oh yeah, that's Wade Flaherty's team.
I didn't know this, but like once I read it, it makes all sorts of sense. It was like that.
Right.
that experiment of having Gretzky, manage and coach an NHL team, and he was a terrible one because he was just so good and he knew the game so well. I think you take such a mediocre guy like Wade Flaherty, like he had to be studied on this stuff. He's probably the perfect guy to coach an NHL goalie because he had to think through the game. It didn't come as easy for him. So I didn't know about it, but once you kind of put it in the notes here, Dan, like it didn't surprise me all that much that he would be the guy who could do that.
Wow. So what you're saying is that having Patrick Waugh be your coach is not really a great move. He's too good. That's pretty wild. So Dave, what about you? I mean, is there any sort of, nostalgia or pull from the Wade Flaherty side of things? I don't expect you watch a lot of Winnipeg Jets games. We don't either, but are there good memories attached to the name Wade Flaherty if you were to see him, kind of working on the bench or whatever, behind the scenes for the Jets or somebody like that?
No, I mean, it makes me happy that, you have an Islanders backup in the hand of behind the scenes. Yeah, there's not as much pull there for me as Fichaud, but I mean, definitely remember the name. And then following the Yankees in the early 2000s, John Flaherty came around. So I don't know. I feel like I like merged those two names together in my head.
Yeah.
Like backup catcher, backup goalie.
Yeah. That makes sense. Right.
So it was funny, kind of like a juxtaposition, but that's really kind of like where it ended for me.
That's really funny.
Yeah, and John Flaherty wore the goalie style.
Yes.
Mask. So
that's right. I remember that now. Yeah.
And Wade, like Wade Flaherty to me, just the name screams, backup to me.
Yeah.
Just like deputy, right? Deputy
Right.
Wade Flaherty. So, yeah, I mean, it's he's just someone that I don't have. It's not that I have any bitter memories towards him or anything like that, but just one where I'm just like, he just really makes, sends a shiver, and not, through no fault of his own, like a shiver up my spine, because it really brings me back to wondering, like, do I want to root for a team that is going to be this bad forever? Because that's kind of all I knew was just dysfunction, and it kind of all came to a head at this point.
Bonjour, compadre. It's the
Priceline Negotiator.
How do I negotiate so many great travel deals? My greatest gadget, the Priceline app. It's got hotel deals, flight deals, rental car deals, all of those deals in a bundle. Deals, game day deals, concert trip deals. No one deals more deals than Priceline. Hold your horses, there's more. The app lets you filter hotels by neighborhood, vibe, star level, and amenities like pools and spas and beachfronts and... Wait, I'm not done. Stop cutting me off.
Priceline.
AI is moving fast across the enterprise. But without visibility, it's just chaos. Different tools, different models, different teams using AI in completely different ways. ServiceNow turns that chaos into control. With the AI Control Tower, you see all your AI across the business in one place. What it's doing, what it's done, and what it's about to do. So you stay in control. To put AI to work for people, visit ServiceNow.com.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
In business, there's no room for guesswork. Every shipment matters. Every deadline counts. When you're trying to keep operations running smoothly, the last thing you need is uncertainty. That's why reliability is at the core of USPS Ground Advantage. From the moment your package is first scanned in, it moves through a secure nationwide network, aiding in a timely and accurate delivery. You get near real-time tracking so you can keep up with your shipments. And with affordable upfront pricing, there are no hidden fees or surprise surcharges to throw off your cost sheets. It all adds up to predictable deliveries you can depend on. Because knowing your logistics are handled lets you focus on everything else: your customers, your team, and the future you're building. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to start shipping with confidence. USPS, official shipping sponsor of the NHL. In business, there's no room for guesswork. Every shipment matters. Every deadline counts. When you're trying to keep operations running smoothly, the last thing you need is uncertainty. That's why reliability is at the core of USPS Ground Advantage. From the moment your package is first scanned in, it moves through a secure nationwide network, aiding in a timely and accurate delivery. You get near real-time tracking so you can keep up with your shipments. And with affordable upfront pricing, there are no hidden fees or surprise surcharges to throw off your cost sheets. It all adds up to predictable deliveries you can depend on. Because knowing your logistics are handled lets you focus on everything else: your customers, your team, and the future you're building. Visit USPS.com/groundadvantage to start shipping with confidence. USPS, official shipping sponsor of the NHL.
Backup goalie is like an important job. Like, you need guys that can do that and be solid. And as we've seen this season in particular, you know, if you were wondering about the value of Semyon Varlamov, well, now you know what it is, because sometimes having a guy step in and win games when your starter can't go, in some cases win playoff series when your starter isn't, you know, working out, is enormous. And it can really propel a team to great heights. And when the backup goalie, you know, isn't quite there, all of a sudden every game, you know, you got to play him becomes fraught with danger. And that's a good way to describe our third Weird Islanders goalie of the evening, and it is one Marcel Cousineau. If you do not remember Marcel Cousineau, congratulations, because that means you missed some of the worst Islanders teams of all time, because I remember Marcel Cousineau very, very well. And he was drafted by Boston in the third round. Again, started with the Leafs, much like Fichaud did, but signed with the Islanders in July of 1998. Again, they needed a backup goalie at the time. And I just remember a couple of things about Marcel Cousineau. One, he did not play that much. In fact, he only played 6 games with the Islanders, 0 wins and 4 losses. So a great record there in the 98-99 season. He only had 26 games altogether in the NHL, 4 wins, 10 losses, 1 tie, and 1 shutout, which we'll get to in a minute, for the Leafs, Islanders, and Kings. Never played in the playoffs. So I remember him rarely ever playing, definitely never winning. And I remember that Newsday had a writer named Jim Smith, who wrote for them for a very long time, covered the Islanders for many, many years. And despite Marcel Cousineau having a very distinctive, obviously French-Canadian name, he kept calling him and writing in the paper that his name was Tom Cousineau. And nobody could understand why he kept calling him Tom Cousineau, why he kept writing in the paper that his name was Tom Cousineau. Nobody wanted to ask the guy, I guess. But this was when I was an intern for Stan Fisher at the time. And I was a kid. I couldn't ask him. But I just remember that he must have gotten this guy. Fortunately, he didn't have to write his name that often in the paper. But when he did, it was always Tom Cousineau. And I don't know why. I'm going to throw it over to you guys. Does anybody else have any memories of Marcel Cousineau at all? Because I feel like I'm the only one who probably remembers that much about this guy's very, very, very brief time with the Islanders.
No
crickets.
But I do. No, but
audio tumbleweed, just nothing.
What I do remember is, I should say the thing I do remember about him is that we're obviously going to talk about the trade. Like, whenever you see that trade laid out in just written word, you're like,
yes,
Marcel Cousineau.
Right.
You know, and he's got a name, right? Like, that's a funny French, or not funny,
right,
but like a funky French Canadian name. So one that sticks with you, and just being like, when did Marcel Cousineau play for the Islanders? Like, I do not remember that one bit. But obviously, when you see the trade spilled out the way spelled out, you're like, he's one of the names in it, and that's a trade that obviously went down in infamy. So you see it quite a bit. So that's how I think of him.
Yeah. That's a good point, because I almost completely forgot about that. The trade that Mike was talking about was in fact the infamous Zygmunt Palffy trade in July of 1999. Cousineau, along with Ziggy Palffy, Brian Smolinski, and a 4th round pick, were traded to the LA Kings for a 1st round pick that ended up being Taylor Pyatt, Matthew Biron, Josh Green, and of course Olli Jokinen, who would then be traded on later. It goes without saying that you guys must remember this trade. Frank, did you remember that Marcel Cousineau was part of this trade? When you think of the great Ziggy Palffy trade, how many guys deep do you have to go before you remember Marcel Cousineau?
Like, he absolutely wasn't the headliner of this thing. I'm still angry about this trade. Like, I'm still angry about this trade. Like, how do you trade Zygmunt Palffy? He was like the only good thing we had going on the island.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the owners were like, you got to cut salary. and so he had to trade their own. Hey, it could have been worse. He was going to get traded to the Rangers.
Yeah,
before
that's right.
Gary Bettman stepped in and was like, "No, you can't ask the Rangers to give you money because they play your games on their cable system, and you got to find somebody else to trade him to." And that somebody else ended up being the LA Kings. So in a way, it worked out pretty well. But Dave, what about you? I mean, if this was your formative time as a fan, this trade probably, came at you like a ton of bricks, probably.
Yeah, I mean, I remember seeing Cousineau going the other way and saying, "Wait, they're sending Ziggy who to Los Angeles?" Yeah,
Right.
no, I do not remember Cousineau being a part of that at all. But obviously, like if Fichaud was that upsetting to me, I mean, losing Ziggy was just, I mean, absolutely devastating. And I think that this was part of the reason that I did, as I was saying at the top of the episode, when I started to fall off a little bit. I think Ziggy going was one of the big reasons that happened. And it was just like, it was so upsetting seeing the one thing, like Frank was saying, that we had going for us going the other way. And it was just really tough to get over that.
Yeah, I mean, as some of us are not over it.
Yeah.
I think Frank and I are both in the same boat. We are definitely not over that trade, and just, again, sick to my stomach as it was going on. Then they really got to trade him to the Rangers for Todd Harvey and Nicholas Sundstrom. Really? Seriously? That was going to be the trade. It was going to be Rich Pilon, I think, was also going to get traded to the Rangers at the time, but just brutal.
Yeah, and another. It was like another. I remember when he got traded, because I have like these memories of Dave and then our cousins Kurt and Eric, kind of like just being mad about it and thinking, when that's the first kind of years I'm starting to figure out what it's like as a fan, and going through the end of that decade into 2000s, whatever, being like having to get used to that, like just that disappointment, not just disappointments of wins and losses, but also we need to trade away our only good player, one of the coolest players in the NHL, because we just don't have money for him because people are going to jail once again, right? Like, and being like, well, that's normal, I guess. Like, that's what it's like to be an Islander, and it was for like another decade. Like, there was like a whole other decade of this kind of chicanery going on, and until Sanjay Kumar got locked up, like, the Islanders are now 22 years without having to send an owner to jail, so that's a good run.
There should be a board in the locker room. Or the
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, but like it just having to come to grips with that, being like, oh, I've got no choice. I'm an Islander fan, so I got to get used to trades that are going to make me mad for 30 years, right? We're 30 years away from that, Frank. So yeah, you've had that one. For living with that one for more than half your life. That's not. Is it
just my imagination? Ziggy Puffy, didn't he get into a fight in his first game with the Islanders?
I don't remember. You mean as a King with the Islanders, or
no? I think it's his first game as an Islander. I distinctly remember him like fighting with the great mullet hair.
He did have a great mullet.
He did. I don't know. I hadn't heard about that. If it was his only fight in his career. I don't remember that. That's really weird. So the other thing about Marcel Cousineau that I didn't realize at the time was that, or I should say I didn't realize until doing the research here, was that he only ever had one shutout in his NHL career. And as I was typing, I was on my laptop, my wife was sitting next to me, and I found this out, and I said, I'm going to give you one guess who this guy who played 6 games for the Islanders had his only NHL shutout against. And she went, the Islanders? And I'm like, yes, it was in fact the Islanders. And it was against Eric Fichaud, of all people. It was a 2-0 win for the Leafs on December 30th, 1996. Marcel Cousineau's one shutout for the team that he would eventually play for. And the guy that he would, kind of share a locker room with. I was mistaken before. I thought it was Wade Flaherty, but it was actually Marcel Cousineau. That's just, I mean, is there anything more Islanders than that? Than the guy who had his only career shutout, ended up playing for the Islanders, and then got no wins for them, and then got traded in this massive trade. That's the most Islanders thing ever. And I don't know. This guy, to me, I'm probably the only Islanders fan that like remembers the Marcel Cousineau era, I guess, if you want to call it anything. But I don't think he doesn't pop up on that list of like, beloved Islanders goalies, Marcel Cousineau is definitely not one. And he's the exact opposite of Eric Fichaud. Like if he came back to an alumni night, people would be like, who? Like he would get like the Don Cutts treatment. Like, who is Don Cutts? But like Marcel Cousineau actually played for the Islanders.
Right.
He also, by the way, he also played in the game where they acquired Felix Potvin, and Tommy Salo didn't want to be with the Islanders anymore, so he stayed home. So it was Potvin, and actually Cousineau was the starter in that game because Potvin had just showed up. So, I mean, I don't know why this guy just sticks in my memory so much. It's just it's very, very bizarre. And I don't know. I wish I could use that space for some other player, but Marcel Cousineau is there, and I just can't get rid of him. So I don't know.
On these, you actually found a video of Cousineau.
Yeah, it's not good. Yeah.
Of the week begin with a double dip of Marcel Cousineau in his quick left hand. Come on, he fires, glove save by Cousineau. His marksman to stern, he shoots it, hook save. Oh, what a save there by Cousineau. Digs in here.
They talk about the quick glove hand of Marcel Cousineau, and then they show the clips of it, and he literally just, as the guy would be kind of coming into the net, he would just hold his glove out there, they hit it, and then he'd like fall and kind of flip over and do the whole acrobatic thing. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I mean, he's so quick. He put his glove out before the guy even shot the puck. That's how quick he was. Any final thoughts from any of you guys? I'm not quite sure where to go. Any final thoughts on Marcel Cousineau before we move on to our fourth and final Weird Islanders goalie tonight?
No, I think it's pretty rare that we get like a guy like that's that the impact is so minute, right? Like almost in a way. That I'm happy that he made the cut because it's good, and I'm happy he's your guy because he deserves to have at least one guy who's his guy, and you're it. And we're gonna get the guy who I've got a very soft spot for our next guy. So
That's
and I don't know if there's very very many people. A lot more Islander fans out there who do because boy, that the team we're going to talk about is that was not good.
Yeah. We got to do a whole I would love to do a whole episode on that. We did our Felix Potvin episode, of course, a couple of years ago. But that game where he came in and Salo stayed home, that was bizarre, but we'll have to get into that at some other point. But yes, we are at our final Islanders goalie, and I left this for you, Mike, to please reveal the final Islanders goalie of the evening. I know he's a favorite of yours and about as weird as it gets. And I know that this was the guy you wanted to introduce. So please, if you will, do us the honor.
I am very honored to introduce Yann Danis into the Weird Islanders universe and his .910 save percentage. So for one of the the 08-09 Islanders, the year before they bottomed, or the year they bottomed out and won the draft lottery and chose not to draft Victor Hedman. This is he was the backstop, and boy, Yann Danis showed up with Joey McDonald, and Rick DiPietro was kind of like looming. Dan, I would say like he was like just there at this point. Like a husk, and I don't know if the NHL would allow you to enter a season anymore with like how sensitive they are about like overt tanking with a goaltending tandem of Joey McDonald and Yann Danis.
Yeah, this
is our plan.
Yeah, this was something else. Yann Danis, of all the guys on this list, had by far the best kind of numbers for the Islanders, I guess I should say, as the result of what can only be described as the hot streak of a lifetime, which we'll get to in a bit. Like, this team stunk, but this guy put together a string of wins and performances that defied belief in a season that defied belief for a lot of other terrible reasons. And frankly, I don't know if it really should have been a surprise, because this guy, much like Eric Fichaud, was very decorated before he came to the Islanders. He was a Hobey Baker finalist for Brown University. What? Yann Danis was a finalist for the Hobey Baker? There's no way any of you guys remembered this, right? I mean, we don't do a ton of college stuff, but like this blew my mind. This was another factoid that blew my mind. This guy was a Hobie Baker finalist. That's crazy. And then, of course, he went on to play for the Canadians in Hamilton for a long time. And like you said, Mike, the tandem was Joey McDonald and Rick DiPietro.
Yeah. In quotation marks.
Right. In quotation. That was.
We're going to give Rick we're going to send him out there.
Right.
Yeah.
In a shocking turn of events, Rick got hurt, which meant Joey McDonald was the starter. And as we talked about with then New York Sirens goaltender Abby Levy, who was a huge fan of Joey McDonald, he got a lot of starts. He did not win a lot of those starts. And then he got hurt. He went down with a groin injury. And all of a sudden, Yann Danis, a man who was signed earlier that summer, very anonymous goaltender, again, was mainly part of the Canadians minor league system for 3 or 4 years, all of a sudden gets the starter's job. And he goes on a crazy, crazy run where he wins like 7 games or whatever it was in a row. Frank, I'll throw it back to you. Like, do you remember this run? This is, of course, later on. This was, 2008. Like, we're way past the years of Fichaud and all these other guys. We've actually seen pretty good goaltending from the likes of Chris Osgood and even Rick DiPietro occasionally. And like, here comes this guy who nobody's ever heard of, all of a sudden, like somehow stealing games for a team that really had no business winning anything. And Yann Danis is actually the guy. It's kind of weird.
I actually do remember the run from that era. And first, I was convinced, like, a guy by the name of Yann Danis cannot be a starting goalie for my team. Like, it's just not okay to be the starting goalie for the team.
Right.
But like, I pulled up the team from that year, and outside of Mark Straight on the D Corps, Bruno Gervais -15, Chris Campoli -20.
Right.
Radek Martinek had a bad year, -16. Freddie Meyer, -19. Brendan Witt, -34. Like, he had no help in front of him.
Oof. It's bad. Yeah, it was bad. And it was worse. Watching that was even worse than those numbers were.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so bad. It also, I don't know if you remember this, Dan, but Yann Danis, like, it took him a long time to win his first game.
Yes.
It was like he started that season 0-9 or something. And the team finally won. I think they beat the Ducks.
Yes.
Like, and the Ducks were a juggernaut.
And so, with a goaltender for Anaheim pulled, 6-on-5 skating advantage. The Ducks try to control the draw, and finally Getzlaff with 24 has it. It went through Perry's legs. They have some big bodies in front of the Islander goal. The puck bouncing around. Pronger couldn't tee it up, and it's cleared out of the zone.
And hit the bench.
But it hit somebody on the bench on the way through.
On the
Anaheim for the Ducks, 13.4. Pronger fans, and now Perry with 9. Dumps one in, bouncing towards Danny. Whip back, icing the call. Scott Gordon is trying to get the attention of somebody on the face-off alignment, but it doesn't matter. Time runs out. The Islanders have their first win of 2009. It wasn't easy when you consider they had lost 8 in a row. They had only 7 shots in the final 45 minutes and 25 seconds. But as good as Yann Danis was, the other side of the story, J.S. Giguère, he gave up the 2 in the first period, went to the bench, stormed angrily to the bench. And a sidebar as well, aside from Danny's first win in over 3 years, the fact that Curtis McLean, who scored his first NHL goal, has the game winner.
And that was his first win of the season. And you could see like the guys being really excited for him. And I feel like that was like the last feel-good moment of the season. Because like the rest of this 08-09 season was a lot of these guys being like, I'm out of here. Like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing here anymore. Whether it was Bill Guerin and those the guys with like his ilk, like Mike Comrie, and I mean Campoli gets traded for D. McAmmond later the year too. There was just a lot of guys who were at the end of their rope. This was it. This was it for Mike Sillinger. This was the Islanders are like they're waving the white flag, and the players are like actively waving the white flag on the ice, and there is Yann Danis to try to like clean it up. And we reference this all the time. This was the year that Mark Streit, he led the team in points as a defenseman, which is already bizarre enough. He led the team in points by 17.
Yeah.
He was the only player on this team to get more than 40 points.
Yeah. I mean, I've said it many times. The fact that they scored any goals and won any games were a direct result of Mark Streit. He was the best player in the NHL that literally nobody saw. because he played for one of the worst teams ever. And I saw him do things. That's why I'm a huge Mark Streit fan to this day, because the things he did those 2 seasons were superhuman, and nobody watched him except for us, obviously. And he was just outstanding, and the team just stunk out loud. And Mike, you're right. Yann Danis lost his first 7 starts, including his first 4 as the team starter, beginning in January of 2009. But then, January 21st, 2009, he beats Anaheim, and then he wins the next 3 in a row before losing a bunch more. Then he wins a couple more. And so again, like, for a team like this to win 4 games in a row was crazy. He also had a shutout this season, which is also sort of crazy.
The last Islander to shut out the Devils was Rick DiPietro early last season at Prudential Center. Yann Danis trying to do it here tonight. Witt fires in. Teams are finally back to 5-on-5 as Giunta heads out of the box now. 2 late power play goals by the Islanders to put this game away. McCammon now sealed off by Madden. Devils send it all the way into the Islander end. Back to get it is Brendan Witt. Icing waved off as Giunta parks in front of the net. 20 to go. Played ahead by Callahan. Salvador across. 10 seconds to go. Final rush here by Giunta. Big drive. Danis got it. Final seconds will tick off. And for the first time since 1992, an Islander goaltender has shut out the Devils at Nassau Coliseum. You have to go back to April 15th of 92 when Glenn Healy did it.
No, congratulations to Yann. This crowd stood on their feet the last 15 seconds and gave him quite an ovation. And the Devils not expecting this. Islanders coming off one of their worst performances of the season. They're the overhang of a trade that was made yesterday. Would that affect them? Well, all those things did, but in a positive way. And you know what, Steve? They deserve this victory.
I was looking over and I'm like, that's unbelievable that this guy was responsible for, whatever, a quarter of this team's wins just by and he was like the 3rd string goalie. Dave, what about you? I mean, was this when you were maybe checked out? If so, I don't blame you, because this team is not worth watching.
Yeah,
but, have you heard of the legend of Yann Danis?
Definitely a little checked out, but I mean, I would always, even when I was checked out, I was still keeping like a cursory glance on the Islanders and stuff. So I definitely remember the run that he went on and the save percentage. I don't know if I remember the fact that he lost Mike's always so good with remembering like the unbelievable like intricacies with losing the first 7 games. But I did actually find also an interesting connection between him and Eric Fichaud during just a rabbit hole that Mike Dunham was the goalie coach for the Islanders during that time. And Fichaud was Dunham's backup in Nashville during his stint with Nashville. So a weird connection between Fichaud and Danis was because I guess for me it always has to go back to Fichaud.
Yeah. All right. And I'll say this about Yann Danis. He's a lot better. He's a lot better goalie for the Islanders than Mike Dunham was.
Yes. Oh my God. No question about that.
And like it's really interesting that he, I mean, I know that where the team was, like I said, like the plan was like, well, we'll give Rick and this Joey McDonald a try, but like the team knew Rick was done and was going to fall apart. And Yann Danis comes in and does like a really good job. And the team was going to need goalies the next year. If I remember correctly, I think McDonald, this was his 2nd year, and like he had like the guarantee 2-way year deal, and then the next year he was going to be a free agent, and then right, because that's 2009-10 is when they had Buron and Rolison, and of course, and then the husk of Rick, right? So like they needed goalies again. Like they were going to have no goalies besides Rick DiPietro's wonky knees. And it's surprising that they didn't think like, oh, we should just bring back Yann Danis. We're not going to be very good again. Instead, they go completely in the other direction and go like, we're going to go get pedigree, established, starting caliber goalies in Dwayne Rollison and Martin Biron. It's so bizarre that the team went from Yann Danis and Joey McDonald to being like, we're gonna get a really, really good like Dwayne Rollison and Martin Biron, had they played to like their ceiling in any, in that season, and Rollison was quite good, but like that team could have, depending on how like the chips fell in the season. Obviously they were playing in a much tougher division with like Crosby and the Rangers. I don't think the Rangers were very good that year, but like the Devils were still good. The Penguins, the Flyers were tough, and the conference was, they still had the Sabres were still going, the Capitals, so they weren't going to, but like that team could have goaltended its way to something funny with that tandem. And then you look at the players in front of them, you're like, well, that's why they didn't get there. But it's just like, it's such a hard right turn to go from like, we're going to patchwork it with these two to being like, no, we're going to Rolly and Biron.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess the reason was after 2009, they had a first overall pick that they, had, and they didn't want guys like Yann Danis and Joey McDonald to be, in the Nets when this guy was trying to find his way in the NHL. Of course, the guy they drafted before Victor Hedman. But what I find really funny, and Mike, you mentioned it off the top with Yann Danis, and I'm glad you mentioned Rollison and Biron just now, is because I'm looking at the Islanders' career, the stats page here on Hockey Reference, and among the goalies who have played at least 20 games for the Islanders, Yann Danis has the 8th best save percentage of those goalies. So Robin Lehner has the all-time best Islanders save percentage at .930, and obviously he played 46 games. Wade Dublowitz is second with .920 in 37 career games for the Islanders. And then it's Varlamov, Greiss, Sorokin at .915, Halak, all those guys obviously played a ton of games for the Islanders. Chico Resch at .911 in 282 games. And right behind him, Yann Danis, tied with Yevgeny Nabokov for .910. Right behind them is Dwayne Rollison, and way down in the 8s is Marty Biron. So anyway, yeah, I mean, Yann Danis was not an Islander for long, but somehow put together a record that wasn't all that bad. 10 wins, 17 losses, 3 overtime losses, and 2 shutouts. Like, that team was horrendous, absolutely awful. I mean, obviously they ended up with the first overall pick, but like, to win 10 games and get 2 shutouts and win, get 3 points in overtime, that's pretty good, for this guy. And that wasn't it for him, though. He ended up signing with the Devils. He played in the KHL. He was with the Oilers for a while. He signed with the Flyers, although I don't think he ever played for them. Played in the AHL with Norfolk and Hartford, obviously Bridgeport, Oklahoma City, Adirondack, a ton of other places. And then finished up signing with the Devils again in 2015. Came back and played there again because the Devils love to bring their dudes back, obviously. So I was shocked. As shocked as I was, and Dave will bring it back to Fichaud again as we start to bring this thing home. As shocked as I was at how little Eric Fichaud played and how memorable he was for me and other people, I was shocked at how little Yann Danis played, but also how surprisingly effective he was. Like, if they had any sort of defense whatsoever, he might have been as good a backup as the Islanders have ever had, which is kind of crazy to think because that team didn't really have anything that was good. So I was really shocked. I mean, is there anything else to add here on Yann Danis, a man whose name might outstrip his memories here? I mean, I also remember him being a bald guy, so that was the other thing I remembered.
Yes, me too.
That was about it.
Yeah, he had a good look, too. Like that, another good setup. Like out of these goalies, Fichaud and Danis both look the part in their own way. And I mean, what is a common thread, and that I think this is an important thing about Islander fans, especially of like an older vintage, is that all these guys played on some really fucking bad teams.
Awful.
Like, they were all these teams were so bad, and we saw them all. We were watching these teams, like we were watching these guys play, and that's why we're here
every night.
Like it's
It was
It's
all like
hard to
gimmicky
explain.
stuff too, right? Like this was the era where they had to just bring Josh Bailey up because
Yes.
like,
Yep.
what are we going to show the fans? Oh, we just drafted this awesome guy, Josh Bailey. We got to put him on the ice.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's
exactly.
like I was when I was 10 and I saw Rick, and then I was 18 and I saw Josh. I was like, well, that's another guy who's not ready to play in the NHL yet. Yeah, that's Doug Waits basically like holding his head, going up and down the ice, and be like, all right, Josh, go stand over there.
Right.
You're about to get stapled by Chris Thorburn. Like, good Lord.
Right.
Oh,
They're
God.
going to run out of the building by the Flyers or the
Yeah,
Penguins or
so
the Bruins.
bad.
Yeah.
And people wondered why it took Josh a little while to get his career going. I mean, it's shocking that he even did. Like,
had a career. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and I think there's a lot of like that with a lot of these guys. Like, I mean, think about Kenny Onsen, who was around for Flaherty and Fichaud. Like, that guy stuck it out. Like, he was on those teams. He watched Mike Milbury like make Tommy Sallow cry, a countryman.
Right.
You know? Like, and he's and it's like us. Like, we're all here. We're like, fuck, I saw that too. I saw this team almost leave.
Yeah.
I saw the owners go to jail, and somehow we're
Right.
still here. Like, it's so stupid.
I vividly remember looking up scores like in 2015 on like, whatever internet capable device I had at the time to see if they had won and like see, oh man, McDonald's in goal. Oh God. Like, it was just bad. And then like Danis, this guy keeps winning. Like, it brings me back to a time when I was like, why did I care about this team at that time? But those were our guys. Somehow they are our guys. And to this day, there are our guys in the cases of Eric Fichaud, Wade Flaherty, Marcel Cousineau, Yann Danis. Somehow these guys have managed to stay our guys. So I hope you guys have had fun joining us. Frank, has this been fun for you? I know you're a listener too. Really appreciate you've always supported us. I really, really appreciate it. I hope this has been a fun trip down goalie lane for you.
Oh, this was amazing. When I got the text from Mike, like my wife was like, "What happened? Did like we win the lotto?" I'm like, "No, this is even bigger." Like I got invited to be on the Weird Islanders episode to chat with you guys. So it's been awesome, Dan and Mike. Thank you so much. It's been like a true honor.
No, thank you. Oh, that's you're too kind. Thank you. And Dave, you get to hear Mike talk about the Islanders all the time. You get your own personal version of Islanders anxiety, I guess, in your ears all the time, whether you want to or not. How has this been for you? We started with your guy, and it was lovely hearing about the plaque and all of your great Fichaud memories.
No, definitely. And I mean, I spoke about how I would be starstruck if I saw Fichaud, but like Frank, this is about as cool as it gets for me, man. This is as someone that listens week in and week out, being able to be a part of this, and definitely humbled and honored. It's been a lot of fun.
You guys are too kind. You're too kind. But we appreciate you coming on. This has been a lot of fun. We obviously appreciate everybody listening. I didn't do my spiel. So become a member at patreon.com/IslandersAnxiety for ad-free episodes, bonus shows. You know the whole deal. Just sign up at patreon.com/IslandersAnxiety. Our theme song is Knuckles by Bjorn Falk. Listen to more of Bjorn's music on Bandcamp and on Spotify. Read Lighthouse Hockey every single day for your most up-to-date Islanders news and discussion. Islanders Anxiety Podcast are part of the Fans First Sports Network. Leave us a review wherever you can. Find us wherever you find your podcast. Shop VintageIceHockey.com. Try wines from the Pinot Project. Mike, any final thoughts on this first ever 4-person episode of Weird Islanders, the podcast? It's included your brother, your unofficial cousin, some of your favorite goalies. We have covered a lot here. Any final things to bring us home?
Yeah, I think, we always talk about the legacies of these guys, but I actually think what this episode has really kind of driven home to me is that the legacy of Islander fans who have the scars of watching these terrible teams, and it can like draw blood from a stone and be like, well, yeah, I mean, I watched this horrible team in the late 90s, but that means I got to fall in love with Eric Fichaud, or I watched the terrible 08-09 season and was watching Josh Bailey get, his teeth caved in every night and felt bad for him, but I got to realize that I'm a Yann Danis guy, and for you, Marcel Cousineau, and go down the list. So I think it's more speaks volumes of Islander fans than anything else, is that somehow the ones that are still around from these eras stuck with it. And I think that someone like Eric Fichaud coming back into UBS Arena for an alumni night will understand that, and that's probably why he's like, no, like I'll give it a go, because these people saw those teams and still know me. Like that's an honor. So I think that's the lesson here.
I think that was beautifully put. I think another lesson that if anybody at the Islanders is listening to this, we need 2 alumni nights. One for alumni for everybody, and then the other is just goalie night.
Yeah, just
we
goalie
can have these 4 guys, Chico, Kelly Rudy. I know Kelly Rudy's a very busy guy. Bring him in. Hell, bring back Ron Hextall. Let him get booed one more time with the Islanders fans. I don't know what Jamie McLennan, whatever goalie you got who played for the Islanders, bring him back. Give them their own night, because as you can tell, we hang on to these guys. Like Mike just said, it's battle scars from watching old teams, but also somehow you form a connection with these guys, and that lasts for a very, very long time, despite how many losses you saw and how bad the team was. But we hope you've had a good time listening to us. This has been a lot of fun. We'll be back. Till then, keep the Islanders weird. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.